Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will create a Notes app using MVVM and Room database. I have already created a Notes app, but that was using SQLite database, which was very basic. But this time, we will create an advanced version of Notes app using Room database and MVVM. Also, previously, I have created a news app using Retrofit. Even there, I have used MVVM and Room database, so if you want, you can watch it by clicking on the I button. Not just that, but I have also explained MVVM and Room database in a detailed video, so you can go through it for revision, link in the description box. Now, first, let's see a quick demo of our Notes app. Here it is. This is how it looks. I have kept the designing very minimal as always. Then we have 5 major features like starting from adding a new note, then displaying it staggered layout, then updating the note, then you can also delete the note. And lastly, you can search the note. And that's it. I know it sounds simple and it is very simple, but there is a lot of code to write, hence I have divided the code in 4 videos. In this video, we will do all the prerequisites and XML design. Then in part 2, we will cover Room database. Then in part 3, we will cover adapter and ViewModel. And then in last part 4, we will cover all the fragments and final output. And that's it. Now, before starting with all the prerequisites, let me quickly tell you the technical side of it. And also, it will be great if you guys are using the latest version of Android Studio 2023.1.1. So first, there will be a blank screen if no notes are available. But if there are notes available, then it will display in a recycler view using staggered layout. For that, we will require an adapter, right? Then notes will be saved in the Room database, whose 3 main components are entity, DAO, and database, correct? Then they all will be handled under repository. Then we have ViewModel for the communication. And lastly, we will have 3 fragments: add node fragment, where we will add the node, then edit node fragment, where we will edit the node, and home fragment, where we will display the nodes. Simple, right? Also, delete feature will be handled in edit node fragment, and search feature will be handled in home fragment. Got it? Now let's create it. Choose empty views activity. Name it as the Notes app. And done. Now let's start with all the prerequisite. Also, as I always say, as a developer, your first priority should be logic rather than designing. Hence, to save your time, I am providing source code only for the prerequisites and XML layout. So you can simply copy paste it. But there are few important parts that needs explanation. So don't directly jump on the source code. Instead, watch this video first and then go to the source code. Okay? Now first, let's start with Gradle. As we'll be using Room database and ViewModel, so obviously we will require its dependencies, right? And also we'll be using navigation component, so we will require dependency for that as well. So first, go to build Gradle project. Here simply copy paste the dependencies and plugins from here to here and done. This is for navigation and this is for KSP, Kotlin symbol processing. It's a better alternative for KAPT plugin. Do not click on sync now. Then go to Gradle module. Here, don't blindly copy paste it because there are chances of package name being different. Hence, only copy paste what is necessary. Like we will require KSCP, parcelize, and save arguments. Then scroll down here. Add data binding as true. Done. Then copy paste all the dependencies as it is. And done. See, we have dependency for room, then coroutines, then navigation, and then ViewModel. Now you can click on Sync Now. And done. Close all the tabs. Next, go to Android manifest.xml. Here we need to mention metadata for room library. So simply copy paste it. And that's it. Now go to colors.xml. Here I will add two prominent colors as pink and red. Pink hex value is F88379 and red hex value is C13B34. There is a website with all the color hex code from which you can decide your app color. Link in the description box. Then go to strings.xml. Here simply change the string as notes or whatever your app name will be. Then go to themes.xml. Here write parent as dark action bar. Action bar will play an important role in our app because features like saving the note, deleting the note, and even the search is present on the action bar. Then simply copy paste the remaining code. And done. Then close all the tabs. Now come to drawable folder. Here we will require 4 icons: delete, search, add, and done icon. So let me quickly add them. And done. Then I have created a background image which will be displayed when notes will be available, means in empty notes app. So I'll add that as well. Last thing in drawable is to create a border for edit text as well as for notes. So create a drawable resource file and name it as pink border. Then give it a shape as rectangle. Then copy paste the code and that's it. Next thing is to create menus, specifically 3 menus. The first one is for search, second one is to save a note, and third one is to delete a note. As they are menus, so they will be present on the action bar in 3 different fragments: home, add note, and edit note fragment. So first create a menu directory. Then inside it, create a home menu. And here paste the code. It's a search menu with search icon in home fragment action bar. Then create another menu as menu add note. And inside it, create an item with ID as save menu, title as save, and show as action as always. There will be no icon, only save text on the action bar of add note fragment. Then next create another menu as menu edit note. Paste the code. Here an item with delete icon present on the action bar of edit note fragment. And done. Next we need to create all the packages and fragments so that we can design it. So first package is adapter, where recycler adapter will be present. Then create another package as database, where DAO and database will be present. Next create another package as model, where entity will be present. Then create another package as repository, where obviously notes repository will be present. Then another package as ViewModel, which will consist of ViewModel and ViewModel factory. And in the end, main activity. Then as I have to design layout, so for that I need 3 fragments. So create fragment package. And let me quickly create all the 3 fragments. And done. See, here we have add node fragment, edit node fragment, and home fragment. And that's it. Our packages and fragments are ready. Now it's time to design them. So go to layout. Here we have activity main, fragment add node, fragment edit node, and fragment home. Also, we will require one more layout, that is note layout for recycler view item. So let me quickly create a layout resource file. And done. Now first, let's design fragment home. This is where nodes will be displayed and also a floating action button to add a node. So let me quickly copy paste it. And done. I'm not going to explain in detail, just the important parts. As we'll be using data binding, so opening will always be with layout. Then important things are IDs. This is fab to add a node whose ID is add node fab with add icon. Then a recycler view to display nodes whose ID is home recycler view. And then an image view whose ID is empty nodes image. And it will display when there will be no nodes. Also, I have kept both of their visibility as gone because this will be handled in logic only. Next, go to fragment add node. Here, same layout for data binding. Then a text view as heading. Also, make sure to add Poppins font, otherwise you will face error. Then 2 edit tags. One is for node title whose ID is add node title. And second one is for node description whose ID is add node description. And that's it. Next, go to fragment edit node. Here everything is similar to add node layout except IDs and fab. This is edit node title, then edit node description, and a fab button whose ID is edit node fab, which will save the edited node with icon. And that's it. Next, go to node layout. Here again a layout, and inside it I have given a pink border to linear layout. Then a text view whose ID is node title for displaying the title of the node. And another text view whose ID is node description for displaying description of the node. And thing to be noted here is I have kept the maximum height of text view as 170 dp. You can customize as per your requirement. And also make sure card view height is wrap content. It's a very common mistake, hence it was necessary to remind. And that's it. Next, go to activity main. Here all the 3 fragments will be displaying using fragment container view, and also this is a nav host fragment as well, which will help us to navigate from one fragment to another fragment. And for that we will require nav graph. So I have already mentioned it here, and now let's create it. First, create a navigation directory. And inside it, a nav graph file. And done. Now here we have our host as activity main, that is our fragment container view, right? Then we will add new destinations, means all the fragment. So we have home fragment, add node fragment, and edit node fragment. And done. Now listen to me carefully. The flow or the navigation goes like, when the user will click on add fab, it will navigate to add node fragment, right? So create a path for it. Then when the user will click on the node in home fragment, it will navigate to edit node fragment, right? So again create a path for it. And done. Now another flow goes like, when the user will click on the save in add node fragment, it will save the node in the database and instantly navigate the user to home fragment. So create a path for it. Then similarly, when the user will click on edit fab in edit node fragment, it will save the edited node in the database and instantly navigate the user to home fragment. So create a path for it too, and done. Now few things to keep in mind. Make sure to keep home fragment as a start destination. Then come to code. Here see, home fragment has 2 actions, add node fragment has 1 action, and edit node also has 1 action to be performed. Then here we need to attach data through argument tag, which will require database. So that we will cover in the next video. And that's it. All our prerequisites are done. And now from the next video, the real logic begins. So stay tuned for that, okay? Also, for more updates, you can follow us on Instagram or join our Telegram group. Link in the description box. So yeah, that is it for the video. If you are new to this channel, then please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will continue with the Notes app. In previous video, we have covered prerequisites and XML design. So if you have not yet watched it, I'll highly recommend you to watch that first and then hop on to this video. Now, in this video, we will cover room database. But before starting with that, let me give you a quick recap of our previous video. So in our previous video, we have added all the dependencies and plugins in Gradle. Then we have designed all the XML layouts, 3 menus, navigation graph, and also added icons in the drawable folder. Then colors, themes, and segregating all the packages. And that's it. You can find all the prerequisite source code in the description box. Also, I have already explained room database in detail, so you can watch it by clicking on the I button. Now, as you know, room database has 3 components, that is entity, DAO, and database. Entity represents table with its columns. DAO provides query for data access, and database serves as a main access point. Got it? We will create classes for all 3 of them. First, let's start with entity class. So under model package, create a data class as node. As this is an entity class, so there will be a table name with its columns, right? So I'll write here as entity annotation. And inside it, table name as notes. Then inside the table, I need to save 2 things. First is the title of the node, and second is the description of the node. So we will create 2 columns for it. Node title as string and node description as also string. Then obviously we will require a unique value that will be our primary key. So for that, I'll create another column as ID, which I'll keep it as primary key. Simple. Next, it will be difficult to transfer this type of data, so in such cases, we go for parcellization. Now, what is parcellization? Parcellization is a mechanism that converts complex data objects into a simple format that can be easily transferred between activities or fragments. Got it? So to implement it, we will mention here parcelize annotation. And here, parcellable interface. And done. Then we have table as well as columns. And now it's time to implement query on it. So for that, we will require DAO, that is data access object. So under database package, create an interface as node DAO. Then inside it, we will have basic CRUD queries like insert, read, update, and delete. Also, we have a search feature as well. So we will require query for that as well. Here mention DAO annotation. Then let me quickly write the code and then I'll explain you. And done. Now see, our first query is insert query. Here, what is on conflict? So on conflict strategy dot replace means if there is a conflict, like if same primary key already exists in the table, then the old data will be replaced with the new data. It's basically a safe way of writing code so that we don't face any error in the future. Then we have created a suspend function named insert node that inserts the node in the database. This is our entity with table and columns, correct? And as you already know, that suspend keyword indicates that this function is called from a coroutine. Similarly, I have created for update and delete node as well. But to read node means to display node, and to search node we will require custom queries. Hence, I have wrote queries using query annotation in getAllNodes function. So the query to display all the nodes goes like select star from nodes, that is a table name, ordered by ID descending. Means the recently created node will be at the top and previously created will be at the bottom. Got it? The result is wrapped in a live data object containing a list of node entities. Similarly, I have created a query for search node function as well. Here, select star from nodes, where node title is the column name, like query is the keyword that needs to be searched, or nodes description like query. Means if the keyword matches either with title or description, then store the result in live data containing a list of node entities. And this question mark means it can be null if no specific search criteria are provided. Got it? And that's it. Our DAO interface is also ready. Next is the third component of room database, that is database itself. So create a new class as node database in database package. And done. Here we need to create and set up the database. So to tell the compiler it's a database class, here we need to mention database annotation. And inside it, entities as node class. And version as 1. Now listen to me carefully. We will make this class as abstract class because we will be creating an abstract function in it later. Then as this is the main access point of database, so node database will extend room database. Now inside it, I'll create an abstract function as getNodeDAO, which declares NodeDAO interface. Abstract function basically has no body in it. Then we will create a companion object. So whatever present inside companion object is static and can be accessed anywhere in the code using its name. Then inside it, it's mostly syntax only. So let me write the code first and then I'll explain you. and done. Now see, volatile annotation ensures that changes made by one thread are immediately visible to other threads. An instance variable holds the singleton instance of the node database or null. Then this is a lock object which is used to synchronize the database creation process. Basically, this block ensures that only one thread can execute the code inside the block at a time. Got it? Then this is a custom invoke operator for the companion object. Basically, it allows you to create an instance of node database by calling node database context. Invoke function follows the singleton pattern, ensuring that only one instance is created. Then this line checks if the instance is already initialized. If not, then it enters a synchronized block using the lock object to ensure that only one thread can create the database instance at a time. Then inside the block again, it checks if the instance is still null and then creates a database using the create database function. I know you will be wondering why is there a need of this invoke operator function. Because invoke operator is used for simplicity when creating an instance, and also double check locking pattern is implemented to ensure thread safety during database creation process. Lastly, I have created a function as create database. It is responsible for creating the node database instance using database builder method. Then it also specifies the database class, database name, that is node_db, and then finally build it. And that's it. Our database is also ready. Next and the very last thing to do is set up repository. So inside repository package, create a new class as node repository. And done. Now, what's the general meaning of repository? It means a place or a container where something is deposited or stored, right? Same we will be going to do in this nodes repository with the help of node database which we created before. Okay, so I'll write here as well db and declare node database class. Then inside it I am going to create 5 functions: insert node function, delete node function, update node function, get all nodes function, and search node function. We have already created their queries in DAO, but this time we will call all of them as methods in their respective function. So first, let me write the code. And done. Now see, suspend makes sure that all this operation is running on a background thread. Then we have a function as insert node with its parameter as node, and that is equals to, here I have called the insert node method which is present in node DAO, and that node DAO is present in node database. See, if I click on it, it leads me to node DAO interface, and this get node DAO interface is called in node database over here. Hence the chain goes like this way. And then all you need to do is pass the arguments that needs to be saved. So for our case, it is node. Got it? Similarly, delete node method for delete node function. Then update node method for update node function. Then get all nodes function don't require parameter because it is retrieving. Hence call get all nodes method from database. Then search node function do require a parameter which will act as a keyword that needs to be searched. So in our case it is query whose data type is string. Then using search node method from database, it will search the node according to its query. And that's it. Our repository is also ready. One more thing that is left is to attach node entity class with navigation graph in edit node fragment as an argument. It's basically attaching data with its respective fragment. So let me quickly do that. And done. Now in next video we will set up our adapter and ViewModel. So stay tuned for that, okay? So yeah, that is it for the video. If you are new to this channel, then please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will continue with our Notes app. In previous video, we have covered Room database. So if you have not yet watched it, I'll highly recommend you to watch that first and then watch this video. Now, in this video, we will cover ViewModel and adapter. So as you know, MVVM stands for model, view and ViewModel, out of which we have already created model, that is our data. ViewModel we will create it today, and view we will cover it in the next video. Then adapter is for recycler view. So first let's start with adapter. Create a new class under adapter package as node adapter, and done. Now we have only one recycler view present in home fragment to display the nodes, correct? So for that, we will create an adapter and a view holder which will basically going to attach the data with its respective UI. Got it? Let's start with extending the recycler view. Dot adapter. And inside it, node adapter dot node view holder, which will create now. So inside node adapter class, create another class as node view holder. View holder is basically used for attaching the XML layout file like r.layout.node layout, but here we will be using binding. So for that, here write item binding as node layout binding, that is our XML file, extends view holder with item binding dot root. Now whenever we want to access anything from node layout, we will write item binding, and a list of all the UI components present in it will be displayed. Next is to set up differ callback and async list differ. Now what are those? Both of them are used together to efficiently update the contents of a recycler view without refreshing the entire data set. So let me write the code first and then I'll explain you. And done. Now see, this is a differ callback implementing diffutil.itemCallback interface. This interface is used by diffutil to determine the difference between two lists. First function is are items the same? Is called to check whether the item represents the same object in node data class. Here it compares the ID, node description and node title of the old items with the new items. If all these properties are same, it considers the item as same. Similarly, second method, are contents the same, is called to check whether the contents of two items are the same in the node data class. Here it uses the default equality check, that is old item is equal to new item. This means that if all the properties of the nodes are the same, then the contents are considered the same. Got it? Then this line creates an async list differ instance using differ callback, which we created. Basically, async list differ determine differences between two lists on a background thread, which helps in smooth UI updates. And that's it. Next, we will implement three members of node adapter class. That is onCreateViewHolder, onBindViewHolder, and getItemCount. First, in onCreateViewHolder, we need to define the view, means XML layout file. So let me write the code. And done. See, as we have used binding, so node layout binding will inflate parent.context and returning node view holder, obviously. Next, in onBind view holder, first define the position of the node in the list like this way. Then, once we know the position, then simply attach the data with its respective UI like this way. Node title dot text through item binding is equal to current node dot title. Means whatever the current node title will be, that will be displayed on the node title text view. Similarly, whatever the current node description will be displayed on the node description text view. Simple. Now, what will happen if I click on the recycler view item, means on the node? It should navigate the user to edit node fragment, correct? So first, set onClickListener on item view, and inside it, we will set up nav controller. Let me write the code. And done. See, direction variable consists of home fragment direction that goes from home fragment to edit node fragment of the current node. Then set the direction on the nav controller and done. Next is to return size of the list in getItemCount function. So return differ dot current list dot size, and that's it. Our node adapter is ready. Now moving on to our next class, that is ViewModel. So create a new class under ViewModel package. Name it as node ViewModel. And done. Now, as you know, ViewModel acts as a bridge between view and model. So here we will be creating 5 functions that will launch through coroutine scope. So for that, first we need to add parameters here as application, then node repository, and extend it as Android ViewModel with argument as app. Then inside it, create a function add node with node parameter is equal to ViewModel scope dot launch, which is a part of the coroutine. Basically, it ensures that the coroutine is cancelled when the associate view model is cleared or destroyed to prevent potential memory leaks. Got it? Then inside the coroutine block, write node repository dot insert node with node argument. This will launch in the background using coroutines. And done. Similarly, let me quickly create for delete node as well as update node. And then next we will create get all nodes function is equal to node repository dot get all nodes, as we are retrieving the data, so there is no need of parameters. Then create another function as search node with query parameter. That is equal to search node method from node repository with argument as query. And then our view model is also ready. Next, we will create ViewModel factory. So create a new class under ViewModel package as node ViewModel factory. And done. Now, what is ViewModel provider factory? Basically, ViewModel factory is a class that instantiate and return ViewModel. Simple. So here I'll pass the parameter as application and node repository. Then extend it as ViewModel provider dot factory. And then inside it, let me write the code first. And done. So this function is required to create an instance of the ViewModel class. Basically, it overrides the create method from the ViewModel provider factory interface. Then inside it, it returns a new instance of the node ViewModel by passing the application and node repository instances to its constructor. This as T is used to ensure that the return instance matches with the generic type T which we called before. And that's it. Our nodes ViewModel factory is also ready. Next, go to main activity. Here we need to set up the view model which we created. So to do that, first initialize node view model. Then outside on create, here create a function as setup view model. And inside it, let me quickly write the code. And done. See, node repository initializes node repository object with node database instance. Then ViewModel provider factory creates a node ViewModel factory with parameters as application and the node repository. Now, once we have repository and factory initialized, then set it up in the node ViewModel like this way. ViewModel provider with this and ViewModel provider factory, which is used to create an instance of node ViewModel. Then node ViewModel class specify the class of the ViewModel that needs to be retrieved. And done. Lastly, call setup ViewModel method here inside the onCreate, and that's it. Our adapter, ViewModel, factory, everything is ready. Now the only thing that is left is to set up fragments, which we will cover in the next video. Stay tuned for that, okay? So yeah, that is it for the video. If you are new to this channel, then please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will continue with the Nodes app. In previous video, we have set up ViewModel and adapter. So if you have not yet watched it, I'll highly recommend you to watch that first and then watch this video. Now, in this video, we will be covering fragments and the final output. Also, this is our last video of the Nodes app series. So now, let's create it. We already have 3 fragments, that is home fragment, add node fragment, and edit node fragment. Home fragment is where all the nodes will be displayed. Add node fragment is where we can add a new node. And edit node fragment is where we can edit the existing node. Simple. So first, let's start with home fragment. Let me quickly remove all the unnecessary code. And done. Now, here we have to create multiple functions that will help us to display the nodes in a recycler view, and also a search view to search a node. So first, we will extend the fragment layout here as fragment home. Then, as we will be using search view, so extend search view dot onQuery text listener. And as this search view will be present on action bar menu, so extend menu provider as well. And done. Next, we will be using data binding in fragment. So let me quickly declare it. And done. Then obviously we will require ViewModel to connect with UI and adapter for recycler view. So declare them as well. And done. Then we have already declared data binding. So inside onCreate view, initialize it as well. And done. Next, in onView created, we need to initialize menu host. Like this way. And done. Then also initialize nodes ViewModel. And done. Then if you remember, on home fragment we have if add fab button at the bottom, right? If we click on it, it will lead to add node fragment, correct? So let's navigate it. Set on click listener on add node fab. And inside it, find the nav controller, then navigate it from home fragment to add node fragment. And done. Now outside on view created, we need to create 8 functions. So let's create it one by one. First is very simple, that is to update the UI. So let me write the code first. And done. Now see, if you remember, we had an empty nodes image, right? In case of no nodes available, an empty nodes image will be visible and recycler view will be gone. But if nodes are available, means not empty, then recycler view will be visible and empty nodes image will be gone. Simple. Next is to set up recycler view function. So let me write the code first. And done. Now see, first we have initialized node adapter. Then as we want a recycler view in a staggered layout, hence we have used staggered grid layout manager on home recycler view. The layout is vertical and contains only 2 grid in a row. Got it? Then set the adapter. Then we need to display all the nodes in the recycler view, correct? So for that we need to observe it. Here getAllNodes method is observed and a list of nodes via node adapter is displayed on the recycler view. Lastly, updateUI method, which we created before with node as an argument, means update the UI according to node availability or not. Got it? Next is to set up menu on the action bar. That's where we have to place the search view, right? So menu provider provides us with 2 functions. These 2 functions are of search view, so add them as well. See, first is on create menu where we will initialize the menu, and second is on menu item selected if we click on that menu item basically. First is to clear the menu, means it removes an existing menu item. Then attach or inflate the home menu which we created in the menu directory, like this way. And done. Then initialize search menu item present in the home menu. Keep is submit button enabled as false. Because we don't require any submit button, search will simply filter it. And set on query text listener as this activity itself. Lastly, on menu item selected will be false because when clicked on it, the search logic will not be handled by menu host. Instead, we will create a separate function for it. So create a new function as search node with parameter as query. Then create a variable as search query and initialize it with query by concatenating %. The percentage sign is interpreted as a wildcard character indicating that there can be 0 or more characters in that position. Then we need to search the node in the list by observing like this way. And done. Then onQuery text listener comes with two functions. First is onQuery text submit and second is onQuery text change. In first one, when the user write the query and submit it by clicking on the search button, then it provides the results. But we don't want that way. So keep it false. What I want is as the user keeps typing the query, the result starts showing up. Got it? Which is possible with the help of onQuery text change. So if new text is not null, means there is a query present, then search the node and return true. Simple. Then last method is onDestroy. Here the app is destroyed means the fragment is no longer in use. In that case, our home binding fragment will become null. Got it? And that's it. Lastly, don't forget to call setup home recycler view inside onViewCreated. And done. Our home fragment is ready. Next, go to add node fragment. Remove unnecessary code. Here we need to save the title and the description of the node in the database. And that save button will be on the action bar menu. So we need to set that too. There will be few things that will be quite similar to home fragment like binding and menu host. So wherever required, we will simply copy paste it to save time. Okay. So first thing is to extend XML layout here as fragment add node. Then menu provider. Now inside it, let me quickly set up binding. And done. Then declare nodes view model. and a view as add node view, which is the add node fragment itself. Next, inside onCreateView, initialize data binding as well. And done. Then inside onViewCreated, simply copy paste these 3 lines. And done. This is to set up menu host. This is to initialize ViewModel and also initialize the view itself. And done. Next, outside onViewCreated, create a new function as saveNote. Let me write the code first. And done. Now see, first we take title and description of the note as an input from the user through edit text. Then checks if note title is not empty, means title is present. Then simply add the note with its title and description in the database. Then throw a toast as note saved. And also at the same time navigate back to home fragment once the note is saved. Else throw a toast as please enter the title. Got it? Next, we have 2 functions of menu provider. In onCreate menu, first clear the existing item and then attach the menu add note which we created before. Then in onMenuItem selected, we will create a condition as return when menu item dot item ID, that is saved menu item in the menu, is clicked. Then save note method with argument as add note view. How we write this in activities? Here it is same view. Return true, else false. Last thing to do is override onDestroy function. And inside it, add node binding as null. And that's it. Our add node fragment is also ready. Next, go to Edit Node Fragment. Remove unnecessary code. Here we need to perform two things. One is to save the updated node, and second is to delete the node from the database. So let's do it one by one. First is to extend XML layout as fragment edit node. Then as the delete node will be on the action bar menu, so we will require menu provider. Then inside it, set a binding. And done. Next, declare ViewModel. And node data class. And done. Also, we have attached data or the argument in naive graph. So for that, we will require edit node fragment args, that is argument by naive argument. Got it? Then same initialize data binding. And done. Again, these three lines will be same in onView created. And done. Also, don't forget to initialize current node as argument.node. Then we need to save the updated node when the floating action button will be clicked. So first, let me write the code. And done. Now see, first, whatever the respective node title and node description is, that is displayed on its respective field with the help of setText. Then, if the user updates the node by clicking on the Fab button, then the following actions will be performed. Like, take node title and node description as an input from the user. And if node title is not empty, then take current node ID, title and the description and update it. As soon as it's updated, go back to home fragment. Else, if the title is empty, then simply throw a toast as please enter the node title. And then next is to implement delete feature. So to do that, create a function as delete node. So let me write the code. And done. Now see here. When you will click on delete node, it will throw a dialog box whose title is delete node and message as do you want to delete this node with two buttons as positive button and negative button. So in positive button, it simply deletes the node from the database, and negative button which won't do anything, null, and then create it and display it. Next is to set up two function of menu provider. So in onCreate menu, first clear the menu, then inflate the edit node menu which we created before. And done. Then in on menu item selected, return when menu item dot item ID, that is delete menu ID, is clicked. Then delete node method, true or else false. And then last thing is to override on destroy function. Keep edit node binding as null. And that's it. Our edit node fragment is also ready, and so do our nodes app. Now let's run it. We have an error. Let me figure it out. Okay, got it. See here, the import of search view should be Android X, not Android. So correct that. Look, this one, not this one. Now again, let's run the app. See, there is no nodes available, so it shows the empty nodes image. Then we will add a node. Let me quickly write title and description. And now I'll click on save menu. And see, it says node saved. And also it displayed in a stagger layout. Cool, right? Then I'll click on it to edit the node and write something. And click on fab. See, the node is updated and also back to home fragment. Then I'll quickly create another node. And done. Now let's delete this node. And see, it says node deleted. Great, right? And that's it. Now, for your convenience, I'll be releasing the source code of Nodes app series soon. So if you are facing any error, then you can simply compare your code with my source code. Okay? Also, for more updates, you can follow us on Instagram or join a Telegram group. Link in the description box. So yeah, that is it for the video. If you are new to this channel, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And I'll see you in the next video.